What makes a home a home? Now, there are many possibilities out there that can make a home feel like a home. But what about those individuals in need of housing, support, stability? How can those individuals, those families, make a home a home? My name is Taylor, and in my presentation, I will be discussing intergenerational housing initiative. This is our agenda for our presentation. We will be discussing 7 topics: our mission, introduction, program goals and objectives, program related activities, timeline, budget, and lastly, our conclusion. The Intergenerational Housing Initiative grant aims to foster the creation and sustainability of housing solutions to promote multi-generational housing and wealth by addressing the housing needs of multiple generations within a single household or community. This grant seeks to enhance social cohesion, provide economic benefits, and offer support for diverse family structures. And coincide with our agency, which is the Community Wealth Fund of Delaware, it will also focus on the fostering economic empowerment, equity, education, and sustainability within a community. Like other agencies of our kind, our mission is to empower individual communities by building resources aimed at creating economic opportunities, developing inclusive growth, and promoting our community. Our organizational chart, which is basically the tiers of who does what to make sure that our organization and or grant can run smoothly and effectively to help our community. First, we have the board of directors who are responsible for setting a strategic direction and overseeing the organization's operations. Then we have our advisory board and director in the second tier. Our advisory board provides guidance, expertise, and support to our organization. The directors or director is the executive leader responsible for overall management and operations of our organization. They would report to the board of directors and oversees program directors, staff, volunteers, and all programs and initiatives. Lastly, in our third tier, we have our program director or manager, which is responsible for managing specific programs and initiatives offered by the organization. Then we have our community agencies, uh, partner agencies, or agencies collaborating with our organization to deliver services, programs, or initiatives into our community. Um, that kind of goes in with our state and federal agencies as well. And then lastly, we have our volunteers and administration staff. Our administration staff provides administration and operational support to our organization. It includes finances, human resources, communication, and lastly, our volunteers. Our initiative. I, as an individual, would like to help those in the community. As a young adult myself, it is hard for me personally to be able to live on my own and not really have that knowledge to what it is to maintain a home or understand the concepts of having a home. And I would like to, in the future, have a home so that I can give that home to future generations going forward. That way, my kids don't have to worry about where they may need to set off from. You know what I mean? Like, future me would be more conscious in this sense, and that's where this initiative comes from. I want to provide individuals families from diverse multi-generational backgrounds to improve their living, financial status, and well-being, like opening bank accounts or understanding a mortgage or your taxes, insurance. You know, provide leverage of the existing housing programs as well as aid the communities in New Castle County, Delaware. And then, in addition to providing educational programs to these families in needs, will also give them the tools and resources to circumvent from these pitfalls. Pitfalls? Low income by a substantial amount since the pandemic with the increase of unemployment and the cost of living. Not only is low income housing not always available, but what about those individuals who do have homes that are considered low income but cannot afford upkeep? The latest data from the U.S. Census Bureau reports that home ownership in New Castle County, Delaware has decreased in 2010 to 2019. It shows that home ownership is on the rise after the pandemic and the recession, but for whom? Individuals who live in intergenerational housing are young adults who live at home with their parents or a certain family member due to any physical whatever situation, right? Some are either full-time to either part-time students who are having difficulty paying back student loans. Others are young families who cannot afford a place of their own. And lastly, unemployed to employed individuals who have a difficulty time making ends meet. These are some major factors contributing to the problem. And we as a community are able and willing to help those individuals. And having this program will give a wide variety of solutions, in a sense, to really help our community and help those individuals and help those families really find a home to make a home a home. Showing some increases in multi-generational households throughout the years. And on the right hand side, it shows the age range, ethnicity in these multi-generational households. Inflation in the housing market going up with higher rates. Interest rate on housing has gone up to where older generations are less likely to sell their homes, and younger generations like myself, where we can't afford a home, we're mostly stuck with a starter home, which is basically like 900 square feet, and it costs a fortune just for that small space. And it's not fair and it's not reasonable that this is what we've come to. But going back to these older generations and these homes, they're not willing to sell only because one, they got the home at a cheaper rate back when, and second, if they were willing to, they would give those homes to their families. But it stems from not trusting us younger generations to really know how to take care of these homes and upkeep, maintenance, and so forth, like I mentioned before. The Housing Alliance Delaware is one of many statewide nonprofit organizations that collaborate with partners to address the affordable housing needs in our communities and solve the crisis of homelessness. This organization, like many other organizations, provide the knowledge and guidance necessary for financial wealth and economic growth in their communities. I also wanted to collaborate with two other agencies as well, one being the Habitat of Humanity program, which has demonstrated success in closing the housing gap, and second, the Almost Home program, which helps family build credit by applying them with low-cost short-term rentals in New Castle County. Going forward, I would like to continue by presenting my goals I have 4 goals for my grant that hopefully I'll be able to achieve soon. Promote intergenerational housing. Address housing affordability. Enhance accessibility and inclusivity. Lastly, increase educational knowledge of racial and social wealth. Activities and phases. Phase 1, assessment and research. Phase 2, stakeholder engagement and partnership building. Phase 3, policy development and regulatory review. And Phase 4, financial incentives and funding opportunities. Program-related activities and phases. Phase 1, housing design and development. Phase 2, community outreach and education. Phase 3, pilot project and demonstration sites. Phase 4, monitoring, evaluating, and adjustment. Here it is our timeline abbreviated. So our application period will open May 1st, 2024. Application deadline July 31st, 2024. Grant awards announced September 30th, 2024. Mind you, this is all predicted. Uh, Preparatory activities October 2024 to April 2025. Project implementation period would be May 25th to September 27th. Lastly, our reporting and evaluation ongoing throughout the project period, with final reports due within 90 days of project completion. Our budget, which is in collaboration with our phases that we had discussed before, with our preparatory activities and our program activities. Within those activities, for example, we have our general donations annually. That would come from our agencies that we will be in collaboration with. In this sense, we have our Habitat for Humanity. That would be $75,000 annually. We also have another one, Delaware Housing Correlation, which is $5,500 annually. In addition, we do have our events, which have been $15,000 annually, program fees, in-kind donations, which I had set the total revenue for those 3 categories for $595,500. Going further down, we have our salaries for our employees. In addition to, we also have the annual amount for those phases, such as the stakeholder engagement, policy development, regulatory review. We do have that down. In addition to, we also have our minimal things in budget, such as office supplies, postage and printing, technology and phone, travel mileage, and etc. Our budget was a little much, but it was easy for myself to bring stuff together to know what I need to better assist these families and these individuals, what things that they need to better themselves, resources and supplies and things they would need. Conclusion, I want to be able to be a part of the impact that our generation, this newer generation, is bringing to our society, not only in the United States or around the world, but also in Delaware, our home, Newcastle County, because home doesn't feel like home unless it feels like home to you. And home is what shapes us. It shapes who we are. And that person that we are would really impact our society, and it will impact what we do for our society. And that's what makes the importance of having a home.